Attack 13. Film Attack 13 is centered around a school bully, Busaba. Most students in her class were terrified of her, and they blindly did whatever she asked of them. She was the captain of the volleyball team and maintained good grades in class, so the teachers mostly adored her. The new girl in school, Jin, was the only one who had the courage to stand up to Busaba. She was a brilliant volleyball player, and she challenged Busaba to a match. She promised that if she missed, she would sit out. But if Busaba lost the game, she would have to stop torturing Ya, a student she had been extorting. Jin won the match, and Busaba was visibly embarrassed. Jin became a messiah for the victims. Busaba hanged herself at the volleyball court after her boyfriend Gun broke up with her, and she attempted to murder him with a pocket knife, which resulted in her expulsion. Jin was, in a way, responsible for Busaba's downfall. She'd been seducing Gun via text, and he was evidently not loyal to his girlfriend. She had become obsessed with Busaba and wanted her to suffer, and while she didn't have anything to do with the expulsion, she was successful in triggering Busaba into taking a wild step. The surveillance footage showed that Busaba went to the volleyball court late at night, suggesting that her intention was to kill herself. We discover that Jin and her friends, Ya, Orn, and even Gun, were responsible for Busaba's death. As it turned out, Busaba had found out that Jin had been secretly texting her boyfriend, and she confronted her. Jin wasn't apologetic about her intentions, and that triggered Busaba all the more. She kicked and punched Jin, but Jin refused to accept defeat, and she managed to overpower Busaba. Gun came to her rescue. She grabbed hold of Busaba and dragged her away. Busaba attempted to choke Jin, stating that if she died, she would make sure that Jin too died a miserable death. Jin's friends pushed Busaba away, and she was knocked into net poles in the court. Her neck was severely injured, and she gasped for air before taking her final breath. Jin realized that if the school authorities discovered the truth, it would destroy their lives forever. So the only option she believed they'd left was to make it look like a suicide. They thought the worst was over, but at Busaba's funeral, someone doing the ritual to bring back her spirit returned to torment them. Jin, Orn, Ya, and Gun believed that someone like Busaba deserved to die. The ghost reminded them every second of the next 3 days that they must pay the price for ruining her life. Busaba's father was said to be a black magic practitioner, so Jin and her friends assumed that he was the one who'd summoned Busaba's spirit. He was an alcoholic, a gambler, and an abusive father. They thought that maybe he summoned his daughter to torture her even after she died. Gun had fixed a meeting with a shaman to get rid of Busaba's spirit, but even the shaman gave up, stating that the spirit was too powerful for him to handle. He had a sacred dagger that he used to destroy spirits, but Busaba's ghost used it to repeatedly stab him. When Jin and her friends arrived at Busaba's father's house, they noticed black magic tools. They started destroying them, but soon her father attempted to stop them. Hong, one of Jin's longtime friends who'd been accompanying them, came across a ball of hair, and they assumed that if they poured the tainted water on it, Busaba's spirit would go away. They even poured some of the liquid on her father, who didn't understand what was going on. To escape from the gang that had just arrived at his house, he stepped outside and stood on the asbestos roof. As he attempted to walk on the roof, the asbestos collapsed, and he fell onto the sharp edge of the boundary wall. He died immediately. Jin and her friends assumed that the threat was dealt with, and she and Gun decided to hand over the ball of hair that they'd found at the house to the shaman so that his men could completely destroy it. The shaman appreciated them and asked them to gain merit on the spirit's behalf. He believed that would be enough for the spirit to leave them alone. When Jin was about to leave from the temple, she noticed a man selling objects that looked similar to the ones they'd found at Busaba's father's house. When she asked the man what the objects were for, he explained that they were used to ward off evil spirits and to protect oneself from ghosts. Jin was shocked to see a ball of hair among the tools and amulets. The man explained that it was wild boar's hair that is considered extremely valuable and rare, and it is also used for protection from ghosts. Jin realized that she'd got it all wrong. Busaba's father didn't summon his daughter's spirit. He was trying to protect himself from her ghost. As it turned out, Busaba's ghost had been controlling the shaman, and that was why he'd lied. She clearly wanted to kill her father, and she needed someone to destroy the tools he had been using to protect himself. By the time Jin called Gun to warn him, it was too late. He saw Busaba's ghost seated in the car, and she ultimately killed him, even though Jin tried her best to save him. Busaba's ghost killed Ya in her room later that night. Hong later texted Orn and asked her to come to the volleyball court. Orn assumed Jin would also be there, and when she didn't show up, she texted Jin her location, although Hong told her that Jin too was dead, and they were the only ones alive. Orn suspected Hong's intentions, even though she repeatedly told Orn that she believed that the only way they could get rid of the ghost was by directly apologizing to her. They lit incense sticks and attempted to summon Busaba. When they began to pray, Orn got emotional and apologized for killing Busaba. Hong was stunned. She had no idea that Busaba was murdered. She believed Orn and the rest deserved to be tormented by Busaba's vengeful ghost. Hong helped Busaba kill Orn, and they hung up her body just like Orn and her friends did with Busaba. Hong was always bullied by Busaba, but in a weird, twisted way, she enjoyed the humiliation. She was in love with her, and she couldn't come to terms with her sudden demise. She wasn't ready to let her soul rest and for her to be reborn again, so she decided to summon her spirit so that they could always be together. Jin had stolen the shaman's dagger from the hospital to destroy Busaba's ghost once and for all. Just as she was about to attack Hong with it, Busaba's ghost held her back. Hong stabbed her. Jin passed the dagger to her other hand, and with one swift stroke, she slit Hong's throat and attempted to destroy Busaba's ghost. While it looked like Jin had managed to pull off the impossible, that wasn't the case. The ghost soon entered Jin's body, and she lost complete control of herself. Hong hadn't killed Jin was because she needed her body for Busaba's spirit to possess. Jin was bodily alive, but her spirit was gone. Busaba had taken over her body. The ending confirms that Hong survived. She had suffered a neck injury and had dressed the wound with a bandage, and Jin, which is Busaba ghost, bullied Hong just like she used to. Hong happily served Busaba,